If you're looking for a new way to support the podcast, check out Dubby.gg, an energy supplement company trying to make a difference. There you can use code SIDEMISSION for 10% off your order. Thank you to Dubby for sponsoring this episode, and we hope you enjoy.
Welcome into a special joint episode of Side Mission and the R&D Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Rusty Ellis. He's Darius Horton. We've got a special guest, Isaac Dick, with us as well. And today, fellas, we are talking about, for a lot of people, one of the most anticipated games of this year. For some people, this might be the only game they play all year. And that is the return of college football in video game form, College Football 25. And fellas, it's been a long, long wait for this game. A long wait for this game. Been over a decade since NCAA 14 was released for the PS3 and for the Xbox 360. And I think that we all agree, for the most part, that College Football 25 is a very dominant return to form. It puts Madden on the hot seat when you look at video game or football video games. There's a lot of things to love. A few small, minor criticisms, some things that EA can definitely build on and can improve upon in next year's iteration of the game. But let's go ahead and dive right in. First of all, I want to hear from both of you, Darius and then Isaac, one after the other. What was that feeling like for both of y'all, booting this game up for the first time, and that moment that, oh my gosh, this game is back? What was that moment like for each of y'all?
Man, I literally, I know it sounds crazy, right? But I literally just, I know it sounds weird to say, but I'm saying, but I just took in the moment because as someone who who's played NCAA 14 for a long period of time, like I've played it like probably 3 years after it came out, and that game was so fun. But man, just sitting there and then actually, as soon as I think because I got the early access, and I came home. I took a shower, so I got home probably around like 3:30. The game came out at 3, so I took a shower. As soon as I got out, man, I just sat there. I booted up the game, and man, like it was. I still can't believe it. I looked at it, and as soon as it said like College Football 25, I was like, "There's no way." but but man, and then just just being introduced into that atmosphere again just made me feel just like a kid again. Like it just made me feel like a kid again, like I was back in my sophomore to junior year of high school, playing Road to Glory and picking whatever team I wanted to beat my rivals. Like it just felt like nostalgia, but it also felt like we're in a new era of football, like video games.
I'm gonna make y'all go ahead and feel old because I am the young bull in this situation. I was, let's see, 13 when the last college football game was dropped, roughly. So I played a lot of it as a youngling, as I'd call myself now. Rusty, you were actually here when I booted it up. You wanted to come see it. And I tried to get you to play it. I tried to hand you the controller. You can't say I didn't. I'm just going to put that out there. But my pure reaction to when I booted it up was just, wow. In the moment, I'm sitting there. I'm like, I never thought I'd see the day again. And that's where I want to shout out the committee. Thank you for NIL deals, making this happen, really. Because without NILs, we're not getting this game.
Oh, 100%.
We're sitting on a log, and we're stuck playing our PlayStation 3s, our Xbox 360s for the rest of our lives.
Well, listen, NCAA 14 was a good game, but I'm with you in that we didn't want to do that the rest of our lives.
And I mean, I looked at Rusty, my first game on, and I said, Madden might be in the dust. I said, no, some people might never touch a Madden game again. I am those people.
Yeah. I mean, I think you might be right.
And I mean, I'm just going to get into some of the controls already. They feel natural. You see these big spin moves on the game. Some of them are a little more animated when you spin move and you're out of the whole team. But you see a spin move against two people and you see them run into each other. You can see that in real life. This game is a lot more realistic than I thought it'd be. I love it. I will say this. There is a bigger jump from All-American and Heisman than there is from freshman to All-American.
Which is crazy.
And that's probably a hot take. People are probably going to call me crazy. I play everything on All-American now.
Oh, for sure. Me too.
I'm that comfortable in the game already. I flipped it over to Heisman for 2 games on a road to glory, and I was ready to throw my controller through the TV.
Yeah, Heisman is no joke. Heisman is one of the toughest difficulty settings in all of video games. It's brutal.
And I'm gonna allude that back to old school Madden. When you had the all Madden teams, you were feeling big and bad that day, and you wanted to play an all Madden team on all Madden. That's what Heisman's like to me.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
It's a fun game. I will pull up my PlayStation app and let you guys know how many hours I've played on it.
I'm kind of terrified to know how many. I'm kind of terrified to know how many hours you're at.
Because I don't want to blast myself right now. Okay, never mind. It popped up as soon as I pulled up my PlayStation app. Do you guys want to take guesses?
I'm gonna say 100 hours.
85. No, I'm gonna say no. You know what? I'm gonna say 105. I'm gonna beat them out 5 hours.
You guys are pretty close. I'm sitting at 98 right now. Once we get done, I'll probably hit 100, 105, depending on if I want to sleep tonight. But I mean, you got it's been that fun of a game.
Like it really has been, just because it's been the only game that I've played recently. And again, like, this is a joint episode for Side Mission and for the R&D Sports Podcast. Side Mission has allowed me to play so many games that I wouldn't play otherwise. And my gaming time has been 100% devoted to this game. And keep in mind, I've been working full time. At some point, I've been working almost 3 jobs while this game has been out. And I have dedicated every moment I've not been working to playing this game. And this game has been a ton of fun to play. The game mode that I've spent the most time with, obviously, has been Road to Glory, where I did exactly what I said I was going to do. I led MTSU. I led the Blue Raiders to a couple national championships. And then I transferred to Tennessee, and I'm working on leading the Vols to one as well. But Road to Glory is such an addicting game mode. Like, it's one of those that I hop on and I say, I'm just going to play one game. I'm going to go through 1 week of the season and then just chill. And then I end up playing 5 games. Darius, I think back to our episode on WWE 2K24 when we talked about my GM and how you can lose hours and hours in that game mode. I very much feel like Road to Glory is the same. It's so addicting, and it's so much fun just seeing how you can level up your player, improve at the game, and I feel like it legitimately makes you better at the game as a whole.
Yeah, and the really interesting part about Road to Glory is that I feel like they haven't even scratched the surface with it yet. There's so much things that they can do, and for it to be, I feel like right now, like, they're at like level 1, and like that just makes you think, like, for the next one, like, they can ratchet it up to like level 5 or like level 10, because man, like, I've spent hours on Road to Glory too, definitely in the beginning, because I've played nothing but Road to Glory probably until like the last 2 weeks, because the last 2 weeks I've started my dynasty, but yeah, I was legit since the game came out. Like, I was on Road to Glory from, I was on Road to Glory from the beginning until, a week ago. But man, the thing is that there's so much to do as far as, like, you think about the times that you have, like, as far as, you actually having to study for an exam or you actually having to work out, go to the gym. Oh, wait, your body is still sore from the last game. Now you got to recover. And how do you allocate those things, right? That was something that's a callback to like one of the ones, I think like it was NCAA, I think 13 or like 12 or 13, like they had the same thing where you had to study and you had to, go to the gym and things like that. It was a really good callback to that. Um, and man, I really enjoyed this game mode, man. And the thing is that it makes you, like how you said, it makes you better as a player too. Definitely if you're a quarterback. Um, now as far as like other positions, there are some things that they do need to, like, I would say, improve upon. I would say here's my only critique with Road to Glory mode is whenever you unlock coach trust, I feel like if you can max the coach trust meter out, you should be given access to the whole playbook.
Yes.
Um, that's my only gripe with Road to Glory. Outside of that, I have played, and there's a way you can cheese past it, right? Like you can call no huddles and scroll formations and do it like that. But the thing is that if you can just unlock the playbook like fully, then I would legit do not play anything else. Like I'm starting to love Dynasty, but Road to Glory is what got me into like NCAA football, back even in like 2006 when they had it. Like it was originally called like Heisman mode or Campus Legend, back in the older days. So that was one of the really big draw points. So that was like everybody's talking about, oh, Dynasty mode is going to be real fun. And Dynasty is fun, don't get me wrong. But as someone who was a kid and who was really fascinated with starting my own career in college, like that was what drew me in. So I was really like hyping up Road to Glory and really ready for it. But if that would be my only critique is just give us more access to the playbook, and then I think it'll be great. But even just outside of that, you still have so much fun like playing this mode, because even the way you can use the transfer portal and the college football playoff and all of the wacky scenarios that are in Road to Glory just make it so much more funny. Like for instance, I had Boston College in the national championship game when I was Tulane. I was a quarterback for Tulane, and we played Boston College in the Natty, which is very funny. So there are some little things about it that I just adore because it's so weird. But man, Road to Glory was really fun, and I'm still playing it. I made a receiver, and I'm having just as fun as I did with my quarterback. So man, it's really fun. It's really been a good game mode to play, and I'm excited to see what they do next with it.
I think that the one thing that I had criticism-wise, besides the fact that I agree 100% that when you max out Coach Trust, you should get access to the whole playbook and not just 3 plays when you want to make a play call change. As much as I love those wacky scenarios, there is a part of me that's like, should South Alabama really be ranked 18th in the country when they're 9-2? Should they really be ranked that high? Like, some of the simulation stuff, I just feel like is a little too arcadey and a little too unrealistic. Like, for example, my dad was helping me set up my apartment, and I was playing part of the game when he got over there, and I was in the national championship with MTSU, and I was playing Kansas State. And Kansas State is a good program, don't get me wrong, but my dad was even like, if MTSU played Kansas State in the national championship, that would be the least viewed championship game of all time, and it would not be close. Like that would be a borderline lame national championship if that was the case. So there is some things in the simulations that I'm like, I don't know if this is realistic enough for me to like it. I know that I like the wacky nature of a lot of it, but I don't know that, like South Alabama, who is 8-2 and is playing in a conference with nobody, I don't know if they should be ranked when Alabama is 9-1 in the SEC and they're ranked 21st. Like, there were some things that I was like, this isn't really realistic in terms of how this would be. Like, that Alabama team would likely be a top 7, top 8 team. So, outside of that, I thought Road to Glory was really, really freaking good, and I think that they can absolutely improve on it next year. Going into Dynasty mode, Isaac, I know you've played a lot of Dynasty mode. The recruiting is really intensive. There's a lot to do. There's a lot that you have to take in when you first boot the mode up. But it's one of those modes that I've seen people play and I've spent a little bit of time in, and I'm like, man, I can just see myself losing hours to this.
I'm going to follow up on that with, that is, I don't know if I'm split right down the middle with both of them. But, I've spent a lot of time in Road to Glory. I've made every position. I hate playing defense because if you don't get one stop, you're getting beat. But in my Dynasty, I'm a little irritated with one of them, and I'm almost dead set on not touching it again, on the fact that I had a 5-star gym recruit. I'd sent the house. I'd given him everything. I was number one until commitment day. And he flipped commitment to Georgia, and I, as a Tennessee fan, as a Tennessee head coach in that situation, I almost put myself through the TV and the wall behind the TV, because I was like, how in the hell do you shut me down in this situation? I've given you everything you wanted, and you just wasted my money. You wasted my time. You wasted my money. You wasted my breath. Go over there and sit in third place in the SEC and watch me win national titles. I wish Tennessee could say that in real life. Not yet. Not yet.
Not just yet.
But I still think there are a few mishaps within Dynasty mode as well. That being one of them. I throw the entire house. I throw the barn. I throw the barn animals. I throw everything at some 5 stars, and then they boom. Commitment day, they flip. I've had it happen in other ones, but I wasn't very worried about them. Some of them were busted gems that I was just like, maybe I can work around them. Make them a great player. Which every coach would want to do in a situation like that. But it's like, it brings you into the real life as a coach in that situation as well. Just because you're like, okay, well, you're not the best player. I'll work with you. And you get to do that when you're in Road to Glory as well. You get to sit there, and if you make a contributor, I've made one underdog. We are in my senior year, and I'm battling for the starting position in week 14 as the starting quarterback. And go Kennesaw State Owls is all I got to say. You guys are the only ones that showed interest in me the entire time. I wish nothing but the best for you guys up there. But it's been an interesting game. It's been an interesting game mode to play. I am going to throw myself out there. Road to College Football Playoffs, a pretty decent game mode as well. I mean, it's an easy platinum game too, and that you've got to play that one for 3 trophies of it. And it's a fun game in general. You can play any game mode you want to, and you're probably going to be glued to the TV for 4, 5, 6, 12 hours at a time.
Yeah, I think that's one thing all these modes have in common is there is so much bingeability in each of them that you can spend a ton of time with each mode. I mean, I feel like there's still modes we haven't even touched on yet that fall into that category as well. And I think that's a major thing that this game gets right. And it's why I think Madden this year might be in trouble, because now Madden has a competitor, and it may be made by the same place. But now that people have college football and they have a modern version of it, I don't know that everyone's going to be so willing to just jump to Madden now when Madden has had the issues it has had over the last couple of years. It's going to be interesting to watch. I genuinely believe this could be the lowest selling Madden that we've seen in several years this year because of College Football 25. So the next question I have for each of y'all, and this is a question that I had for a few other people that were excited, and a lot of these people that have asked this question have said, "Oh, well, I'm not even going to touch this mode, so I don't really care that much about it." How do y'all feel about the addition of Ultimate Team into college football? I don't know that I love it. I think that Ultimate Team across every game that it's in is very microtransaction heavy. It's a very greedy game mode, but I'm interested to hear what y'all think about it.
I think so. So for me, even this was even like back when, back when we had these on offline. Well, yeah, when we had these on like bare minimum, like offline modes, I never touched an ultimate team that much. I was never much an ultimate team or my team guy, even when it came to 2K. Um, so for me, it's kind of like how you said, it's like it's very, if you don't have money, it's a very grind based game. And I just feel like if I'm a grind on a mode, I just want to grind on like Road to Glory. Um, if I'm gonna have to do that. But yeah, so for me to see it in this game, I'm not surprised. But for me, I don't mind if it's in the game as long as if it's not the focus of the game. And I feel like with Madden, that's kind of where the drop off has been, is that Madden Ultimate Team has been the focus of Madden, which is why, in my opinion, it's been declining since, 2013, I believe, or even 2012, or, whenever Madden started declining. But yeah, whenever they started doing microtransactions for Ultimate Team, and the thing is, they stopped taking the main aspects of Madden, which was people were playing like the franchise mode. And even a lot of people were playing like the OG superstar mode where you had like the 40-yard dash, and you had the mini drills you had to do. You had to take the IQ test. Like back when they focused heavily on those type of modes, like people love Madden, but ever since they put all of their focus in the Ultimate Team, I feel like it's just been kind of So I'm fine with it being in college football if they keep it like second or third priority. Like I would prefer priority be Dynasty and Road to Glory because that's why people honestly buy college football. So I think, yeah, if they keep it, out of the main, like it being the main thing, then I feel like it's fine being in there, but I'm not going, or I haven't played it. I may give it a run just to see if I like it. But anytime I've played a Ultimate Team or my team ish type of game mode, I just never have that much going for it, if that makes sense.
Isaac, what about you?
So here's my opinion on Ultimate Team, my team, stuff like that. That is your streamer based content.
Hmm.
That is what streamers want to play. That's where they want to get their views. It's pay to win.
It's your flight reacts mode.
Right.
It's your pay to win team play. Which, if you're gonna do big tournaments, don't do regular tournaments. Do your Ultimate Team, your My Team tournament for big streamers, which is what it should be. I think it should be a game mode exclusively to people like Flight, Sketch. I'll even throw Jinxie in there. People with a massive following because they've got the money to spend to build the teams. Whereas your common folk who are getting the game to play Road to Glory, Dynasty, Road to College Football Playoff. And if they just want to play now, play now. It's not, it shouldn't be a focus of any game, in my opinion. But it is, and it's the sad part.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons why Madden has declined is because that mode has become so microtransaction greedy that if you want to have fun in that mode, you have to spend money. You can do your best with a team that's like an 80 overall, an 85 overall, but the reality is you're going to get online and every other person you compete with, you're going to lose more often than not because more often than not those people are all spending money on their game. I mean, you have to pretty much be a god at the game to win with a team that is a lower overall for Ultimate Team, at least. I'm not the biggest fan of it being in this game, but I can stomach it if, like you both have said, if it's just a secondary mode behind Road to Glory and Dynasty and Road to the College Football Playoff and Play Now, if it's secondary to those, I'll live with it. But I was not a huge fan of it being in the game in general because I didn't feel like it fit college football very much. But again, that's just me. If you're out there and you're enjoying the mode and you're not having to pay that much money, good for you. Good for you. I'm glad that you're able to enjoy it like that. For me, I just don't see it as very worth it. So, last thing that I have to say, fellas, before we call it an episode, a little bit of a shorter episode than the last one we recorded. How surreal is it to boot the game up and not have to download rosters with names and overalls and them just be in the game naturally? Like, to me, I'm still processing that. And it's crazy that, for example, for Tennessee, that Nico Iamaleava is in the game and I didn't have to like download any kind of like roster from somebody who made them custom in order to have them in the game. I think that's still kind of crazy that they're all actually in the game.
Man, let me say, guys, I have war stories of me and my brother like playing NCAA like '09 or like NCAA 11. We literally would manually go to a website, to a college team's website, and look at their roster and manually, if there was a team we wanted to play with, change the whole roster, like from quarterback down to like the water boy. Like that's how dedicated we were to this game. So when we tell you, like, when there's people don't understand the war stories, like when old heads who played this game, who like they were just like, yeah, I remember when we had to like input rosters ourselves, and that's just to change a name. And some people went in depth as far as like putting like their skin tone or like their hair or like their, like what type of cleats they wore or whatever. Like there were people who were that dedicated. But I remember like back in the old days, like my brother and my cousin and I would stay up to like 2 a.m. and literally put rosters in, save the roster on like the PlayStation 2. Like I remember those days so vividly. So actually booting up the game and looking at the roster and seeing like your favorite player, like for me, to seeing Donovan Edwards, on Michigan, or just like how you said, Nico, just seeing Nico and Squirrel White on the game. And they actually, now there are some people who don't look exactly, like how they do in the picture. But for the most part, I would say about 85 to 90% of these are really accurate face scans. Like Nico looks like Nico. Donovan Edwards looks like Donovan Edwards, so a lot of these players like even look like how they do. So it kind of goes back to what Isaac was saying in the beginning. Thank God for NIL.
Oh, yeah, NIL is the main reason why we have this game. And while people have their feelings about NIL, as a gamer, I'm very thankful that it exists now, because the fact that this is going to be a franchise that comes back year after year after year and, in my opinion, can only improve, I'm thankful that it exists now, for sure. Isaac, was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap up?
I'm just gonna pick a bone just to see, how Darius feels about it. How do you feel that if you're a 5-star recruit, you come in a higher overall than Michigan's starting quarterback right now?
What's crazy is that I did the same exact thing. Because I didn't do the same exact thing. So my whole goal, and I'm only giving you this story because I considered going to Michigan, but I wanted a tougher path. So what I did whenever I first started, I chose to be like an elite prospect, which is 5-star. And I'll give a side note on that in a minute. But anyway, I chose to be an elite prospect, and I was like, okay, I could literally go wherever I want. And I saw Michigan, and I think even Tennessee were spots where like I could go and be an immediate starter. And I was like, wait, they have Nico, like they don't need me. And the thing is that even at Michigan, I was like, of course, because the thing is that I think they know that like we lost like probably like close to 50% of our roster due to the draft. And I know there were a couple transfers or whatever because of Jim Harbaugh leaving, but I mean, the thing is, like, I don't think Alex Orji is that bad of a quarterback. He is an extremely talented quarterback who has a cannon of an arm and who's really fast. He's almost OP. But the thing is that I think that he hasn't played enough for them to give him a proper rating. So if you can come in like just being a blue chip or elite prospect. I think that's the reason why, just because we haven't seen a lot from Alex Orji. Now the thing is that you could technically say the same about Nico, but I feel like there's more known about Nico than Alex. So that I think that makes sense though. But Nico's a stud, and I think honestly he's gonna have a great year. But I did want to touch on this too. As far as next year, if they could bring back the high school portion of Road to Glory, I think that would be so much fun. Like I get it, like choosing the path you want to go on, which is cool. But just being a high school prospect, and if you stunk in high school, you was gonna be a low star graded player anyway. But if you kick ass in like, high school, you're able to be a 4 star, 5 star. If they could bring that back next year, I think that'd be cool. But outside of that, the game is really fun and I enjoyed it.
And I'm not going to prolong the episode anymore because I know we've covered pretty much all the basics other than rankings and everything. And I know we don't want to get into all that because you'll get me on a big tangent of what went wrong with them ranking Tennessee everywhere. And I'm just going to be honest. Michigan's defense to be higher. I don't remember exactly where they were in the top 10, but I think they should be higher.
I think they were 7th. Oh, no, they weren't in the top 10. I remember that. They weren't in the top 10.
They weren't in the top 10. That's what it was. And
Yeah, that's right.
I could get on a tyrant on all that all night. So I'm going to save us the time and just say, EA, you fucked up on that part.
Hey, fair enough.
But
I will say the other thing I thought they messed up with was there's a ton of great environments in college football. Do any of us look at College Station with Texas A&M as the hardest place to play? I certainly don't.
So
Man,
I'm gonna get into that just a little bit. You have got other SEC places that are harder to play. 3 Big Ten places that are harder to play. I can't keep up with the Big 12 right now. The Big 12 is the new Pac-12. I said what I said, and I'm going to die on it. But, and I'll list them. I hate to say it. The inbreds down in Tuscaloosa. The furries down in Athens. And then 152 of my closest friends, 152,000 of them, that sit in Neyland Stadium, and we could go 2-8. You're going to get a sold-out stadium for rivalry games. And we're going to bring the heat every time.
And it's not just the ones that you mentioned. Like I think that Alabama with Bryant Denny, I think Sanford Stadium for Georgia, obviously Neyland is up there. And then and I'm assuming with the 3 Big 12 programs, you're talking about Michigan, Ohio State, and Penn State. But I think that Texas is harder to play at. I think Oklahoma should be higher ranked than Texas A&M. I think that Oregon should be higher than Texas A&M. And as much as I don't like this coach, as much as I dislike Dabo Swinney, I think that Clemson should probably be higher than Texas A&M as well.
Yeah, I think LSU should too, because goodness gracious, playing LSU at a night game is like
LSU as well. Yeah, Death Valley at night is crazy.
I agree with y'all. I mean, you guys can come at me if you're listening and you're a fan of one of those teams. Sorry, I'm just saying. Those are 6 teams that come to the top of my head that are blatantly higher. Now, you Cajuns down in Death Valley, you guys got taken over 2 years ago by the orange and white. That's why I'm not going to say it.
That was during the day, to be fair.
And, I mean, there's a lot that I could go into with that. It's just, like, rankings and everything that they've done on here is just, I don't agree with them. Tangent about agreeing with them. I've said that 4 times now. I know, but it's just something that blows my mind that you guys have not done your homework.
Yeah.
I went to, and I can say this personally, I went to Neyland Stadium last year when Tennessee played Georgia. We got blown out. We scored the first play from scrimmage. Count according to an Apple Watch was enough to make you go deaf for 45 minutes. Never seen that in College Station.
Yeah, I mean, College Station is loud. It's a great environment, but it's one of those that like, and there's more that come to mind. I mean, I think Florida State, as much as I don't like Florida State, they come to mind as a place that I think that should be considered tougher to play. Like in the SEC, another school that we haven't even mentioned yet that I think is a harder place to play, especially when they are really good. I think Ole Miss is a tougher place to play.
I'll give you another one. As much as it pains me, South Carolina.
South Carolina, I think I would put up there as well. Like again, especially when they're good.
Yeah,
I'll tell you one thing.
Go ahead. Yeah,
I'll tell you one thing that we need to do as a group, collectively. I'm gonna make your day, Darius. We're gonna have to make road trips, and I'll tell you the first one we need to make is the next time that old-fashioned rivalry up north is played, we need to go to the Big House.
I do. The Big House is absolutely on my sports bucket list, especially for either an Ohio State game or a Penn State game. I feel like the Big House is just so unmatched when it comes to energy, which is why it surprised me again that it wasn't ranked higher. Like, I don't know. I get Penn State with the whiteout. I get it. It's an electric environment. You had the game a couple years ago with them in Ohio State that is, to this day, one of the loudest on-record recordings of a game, period. I mean, the broadcasters even said there are moments they couldn't hear themselves think. I just don't think that A&M should be considered a tougher place to play. It's a great atmosphere, but we just rattled off how many that we thought were better. I think that says all that needs to be said. Yeah, like I don't know that A&M would even be in the top 10. So I think it's been a great episode, boys. That's a good place to call it. So that is going to do it for this joint episode of Side Mission and the R&D Sports Podcast. For Side Mission, you can follow us on Twitter at Side Mission Pod. You can check us out on Facebook as well at Side Mission Podcast. For Kyle, or not for Kyle, shit, he's in the producer's chair. I'm leaving that in. I'm not editing that out. I don't care. But for Darius, for Isaac, I'm Rusty. Thanks for listening.